What's up? All right, y'all. We are back after last week. Like I said, y'all. Oh my god. Oh my god. The live streams. The goal would be for them to be every Monday, but that's just not realistic. We try to keep them as many Mondays as possible, though. And as you see, we got quite a few things that we're going to talk about. Just being transparent. No, I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is, my birthday is this week. Well, my birthday is June 16th, but I do like a little celebration in Houston, and next weekend, me and my friends are going to be out of town. So I'll crank out another live stream next Monday. I have a guest for that, and I may have a guest today. I don't know yet, as bad as that sounds. But yeah. So, and then when that Monday I'm gone, I won't be doing a live stream, but I'll be doing one after that. Okay, so let's get into talk about today's first topic. So recently, Ice-T blatantly said or publicly said that Lenny Kravitz was weird for being celibate for 9 years, I believe. I think that's what it is. Well, it don't matter because I'm about to load it up and we're gonna read the little article and we're gonna pick that apart because I want to see what y'all's take on that is. And I'm gonna stop periodically. All right, Lenny Kravitz's celibacy journey sparks debate as Ice-T labels it weird. So it says he has candidly shared his details of his personal life, sparking some raised eyebrows with his weird confession. Whoever the writer is for that is shady. The rock star disclosed he's been writing solo for nearly a decade and is sticking to celibacy. Kind of skipping around here. Says in the first tell-all chat, Lenny spilled the beans on his love life or lack thereof, revealing that he hasn't been in a serious relationship for 9 years and is choosing to stay celibate until the right woman comes along. So now, rapper Ice-T, we're gonna go just jump right here. Y'all see it? Rapper Ice-T couldn't help but comment on Lenny's celibacy, that's Pokemon, celibacy decision, branding it as weird on X, which is, y'all know, is Twitter. He said, hey, if you're a guy, you can voluntarily go 9 years without sex, you're following the wrong page. While he didn't drop Lenny's name directly, shady, fans quickly connected the dots. As fans questioned Ice-T's judgment on Twitter, asking why judge him though? It's his choice. He's different to you. I don't think it's fair to assume something's wrong with him just because he chose to celibate for a long period of time. I think that there are many manly humans who can abstain from long periods for various reasons. So he didn't hold back. He stated bluntly, it's weird to me. I love blank a lot. I do know one thing, say something about sex, but I don't know if they're saying for something else. He said he's decided to practice celibacy in 2008, and then he vowed celibacy to marriage. He said he admitted this approach often surprised him, but it is what he felt was right for him. And he said he struggled with infidelity, that he believed a curse came through his father. And then it says that his father predicted he'd do the same thing to him. It's so much to unpack here, y'all, that I can't wait to get into the thing. All right, so let's get out of this. Hold on, y'all didn't start glitching. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's get into the first topic for today, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? Most people don't want to hear this, and most people, society teaches us another way. But actually, believe it or not, you're more at peace when you're not out here having sex with everybody. Now, I know people try to say, oh, a man need to do this and man need to do that, but there's a reason the Bible's told us to do stuff for a reason. There's a reason the Bible told us to do for a reason. There's a reason why it's best to remain celibate until marriage, because you just don't know what people got. And everybody always thinks it's an STD, but it's also, people say soul ties and raised there. But you just don't know what people got going on, and you ain't got time to be. And his logic is he struggled with infidelity, so this is his way. Sometimes you have to do an extreme. I was recently hearing about being strict or being real disciplined. As far as where we at in life right now, you have to go through like a strict training, and this is the evidence of that. Because I'm sure he probably thinks clearer. I'm sure he probably isn't because when you don't go a long period of time, it's like breaking a sugar addiction. Of course, it's the rough at first, but once you get past it, you don't even crave it. So I'm not saying he'll never crave sex again and he don't crave it, but it ain't dominating his mind just like don't, 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 don't. You know what I mean? Like most people and most men, especially where it's just like you had it recently and then you ain't had it in a minute, your mind just start going crazy. You can't stop thinking about it. So it's like a real thing. So him doing this actually is the safest thing to do, especially when he said he struggled with infidelity. And this is his way to combat it and doing this because he's single. He can mess with any woman he wants to. But he's deciding to stay single because this is a form of discipline for himself. And now he's putting him in a position of where he's saying, if I can control myself and when I can do anything I want, I'm sure I would be able to control myself married. Now, of course, it sounds like a spiritual thing, but you can't break spiritual with physical works. But in the same breath, what's to say we don't know that this isn't part of his spiritual regime. All right, y'all, let's go to the next segment, which is WWID. So what would I do in this situation? I've gone in and out of moments of celibacy because trust me, as I've gotten better as the years go on, the streets be on it. You can catch what I'm saying with that. I'll be chilling because I just feel as though I'm trying to do things the right way. But people have slip ups from time to time, but not like that either. Clock it. But for real, I think that it's best that if no one does it, I think you should get to the point where you should try it. Maybe you should get to the point where you say, let me see how this will go with me not doing nothing for maybe a month or maybe 3 months, just to see if you can do it. Because people say that they're not addicted to stuff, but you only know you're not addicted when you try to leave it alone. That's when you know. That's when you know. So like Lenny Kravitz, he was able to do this for 9 years, and somebody said, I'll never do that. But you got to start with a week. You got to start with a month. You know what I'm saying? You have to start slow. I don't think he just jumped into that, but it just kind of happened that way. And like I said, he probably feel like if I start doing it with somebody, she gonna start tripping. This is gonna become a big old thing, and he's really trying to wait until it's something serious because a person like that rock star lifestyle might won't make it. He been out here. So at this point, he probably came to the the realization, like, look, ain't nothing out here new. So ain't no point in me trying to even just to test the waters and see when I know what's out here. WWJD. So in this situation, what would Jesus do? Easy. Celibate. It wasn't even nothing to think about. Bible claims he never sinned. So if he never sinned, it means he wasn't married, so he didn't have premarital sex. So he didn't have sex. Now it's a little different because he's the son of God, so it's different from us humans, but he was still tempted with everything we was tempted with. It's just that he had more God in him than we do. So I guess in this situation, get more God in you. Get more God in you so that you don't have to, it'll be able to fight back when the temptation presents itself. Keep that in mind. And then WSMD, what should men do? And as simple as it sounds, like I said, everyone's not going to remain celibate until they get married. And everyone's not going to practice it until they get married. And there's some people that never will. But what I will say is you should at least try. It's like the drinking thing. I think you should just try just to see how long you can do it. Even if it's just like, okay, I'm going to not do it for 30 days. Or I'm gonna do it for a month. Even people who are in relationships, they go periods without having sex, not because they can't, but because they really be trying to stay focused. And sometimes when sex is on your mind regularly, even if feel like if you're in a serious relationship, in marriage, whatever, it can throw you off. It's hard to stay focused all the time because it dominates your brain, and it can kind of get to the point where it's just like it's too much. So my suggestion is I would suggest that everyone just tries it and see how far they can go with it. Okay? Pretty simple for today. All right, now let's get into the next topic. So the next topic we're actually going to talk about is Miguel, actually. We're going to talk about Miguel. So for those that don't know, Miguel was actually on the first season of Making the Band. And he got a lot of flack back then, and you see where he's at now. But let's load up the video. This was on the Shade Room, but I got the thing on YouTube. So we finna watch it and we finna talk about it.
On the John Lennon bus, where we started.
I popped in this demo and it was our song, but it wasn't us.
Come whisper in my ear, tell me what your heart desires. Girl, I feel like you're the one that I can spend forever with.
It made me want to throw up. He's talented, but it's like Eddie's song.
Miguel's overconfident. Yeah, he's a great vocalist, but what the hell is he doing? Yeah, he has a beautiful voice, but I'm not impressed.
So real quick, that don't sound like hating you. Like you really sat up in that interview and said that like confidently, like, yeah, he has a great voice, but I'm not impressed. That don't okay.
He was doing too many runs. It just ain't feel right.
Pump your brakes real quick. It's your boy OTR Brandon here live with another update. And we have I guess this is back in MTV did these type of shows. I don't think they do them anymore. All they do is play reruns of ridiculousness. But this is Miguel, now a Grammy Award winning artist. But he did an audition for this group called Fatty Coo. They were doomed from the start by the name. The Fatty Coo is a terrible name. I don't know what they were thinking. But hey, when you're starting out as an artist, you just looking for a big break. But Miguel didn't need him. Now he's a Grammy Award winning artist. Studio album 2010, platinum selling, very talented, face amongst the stars, I guess you could say. And these people were just jealous, and you reap what you sow. So they could have just embraced him. Maybe he could have been a member of the Fatty Coo and made it bigger than what it was, but instead they decided to hate. And now we don't know what Fatty Coo is or who.
Okay. So I got a lot to say about that too. Yeah. All right. So let's get into the first segment with that. So what does this have to do with mental health? So first of all, let's go on both sides of the ball. And let's go from back then to now, and then let's go for both. So we'll start with Miguel first. So back then, I'm sure he obviously didn't, he auditioned for the group. He didn't get in. I'm sure he felt like crap because he thinking I'm doing so good. This is my big break. And it's funny how we as people, we think something to be our big break. And then guy like, yeah, watch this. And that was nothing. And in his mind, he probably was like, I'm about to go ahead and kill it. This is it. This is my time. And whole time, not only was they hating, but it also wasn't nothing you want to be a part of because like that man said, it was doomed from the start. Not even because of the terrible name, just because we see where all the making the bands are now. You know what I mean? But let's get into mental health wise. I'm sure he probably, when he probably realized he didn't make it, he's probably really heartbroken, probably thought he missed his opportunity. And then to probably go back and see how bad on making the band them people was talking about him. Like the one girl gave him compliments, but they were still backhanded because she was like, she wasn't impressed and he has a great voice. Oh, the one dude, he got too many runs. Like, you got to pay attention to them comments. Now, granted, them wasn't his friends, but I'm going to say this to somebody. Some of your friends and family make comments like that about stuff you do. Keep that in mind. And everybody knows I cannot stand a critic and people who just nitpick. And they literally nitpick that man to hell, to oblivion for no reason because, and maybe they thought that he was going to take their spot, which as we see, he kind of did because look at them now, look at them. Let's shift over to their mental health. So back then, they probably was like, oh, he trying to take our spot. Somebody peeped he was a star. Somebody peeped he was a star for sure. And I feel as though somebody knew that he was a star. Somebody knew that he had it in him. But they was maybe scared he was going to take their spot, which he did. So back then, they probably was like, keep him out now. Maybe we'll close the door because at that time, during that making the band era, people was thinking that, making the band was the thing, and it was for a period, but obviously it fell off. And from my understanding, they was gonna redo making the band right before COVID hit. Can't do it now because Diddy locked down. But even with this situation, they mental health now, I know I'm sure in reality they probably been reached out and apologized. Some of them might have done it just to save face, and some might have really meant it. But I know they probably punching the air somewhere, kicking the ground because they are pissed that they sat up here and basically tried to shat on that man. And look at him now. That's why it's like you can tell who don't know a star. You can tell. And it's hard to explain. Let me explain that. You can tell because you know some people have that eye. They just know like this person got something. Now one of them had that eye because there's no way you wouldn't be able to see that. Because if you got that eye, you can tell who has the star is the star power. Who has star power? Who has that star quality? Who has that it factor? You know what I mean? And they missed it. All right, let's go to the next segment. What is it? What would I do in this situation? So if both sides of the ball, if I was Miguel, which I've been in that situation like a Miguel where you killing it, but you still humble about it, but people trying to tell you that you ain't this and you ain't gonna be this. Honestly, those situations, Monique said it best, it builds character. She didn't say it builds character, but she was just saying going through those type of situations makes it easy so when they tell you who you not to learn who you are. And in that case, it's clear to see that Miguel kept trying. He could have easily stopped. He could have easily just said, you know, this ain't for me. But he kept going anyway. And like I said, look at him now. You know, I've seen him in concert. He's terrific. As far as them, have I been on that side of the ball where I was like, they ain't got it? The thing is, I think more so when I was younger. I think back then, even though back then, I'm going to call it what it was. My mom always say two things can be true at the same time. Low key back then, a lot of times I was hating, but at the same time, I was telling the truth because some people ain't doing that. So I didn't lie. It was still hating. That's me taking accountability. It wasn't right, but I ain't doing nothing, so I wasn't wrong. But in that case, and then also we have to understand how TV works. Those people were asked those questions and they just answered them. You know what I mean? They're going to ask the shady questions and be like, so how did you feel about when Miguel did it? You know what I'm saying? They're going to do stuff like that. But even keeping that in mind, you can still word things a certain way. So I say that in that situation, you don't even I always coin the phrase, even if you not hate, you sound like one. Because there's times you might legit not be hating, but you'll still sound like one. So we got to watch what we say. Even especially when I think about situations like when it comes to like events or like birthdays and stuff. And sometimes you get the vibe where people try to downplay something you're doing. And it's just like, what do you get out of saying that comment? Something to think about. WWJD, what would Jesus do in this situation? So obviously Jesus was persecuted. We know that. If he was Miguel, he wouldn't have been sitting up hating on them people. So we ain't even got to address that part. But if he was Miguel in this situation, he would trudge through it, keep doing what he's doing, keep putting out content, keep making music, keep doing whatever you called to do, even despite the pushback. We know the Pharisees called him out, and in this conversation, honestly, we could compare the Making the Band people, Fatty Coop, terrible name, to the Pharisees, because let's go through the comparisons, right? So the Pharisees were the people who were known for keeping the law, believed in God and keeping the law, but they went about it in a way where they thought they was kind of like above it, like, oh, this how you do it. Similar with Fatty Coop. You couldn't have told Fatty Coop from them being on TV and them making that band that they was going to be having 20 Grammys, 30 Grammys. So in their mind, they was doing something right. Same with the Pharisees, they were doing something right. And when someone came in unconventional, when someone came in doing something that they didn't like it that way, or they said that ain't the right way, they challenged it and attacked them. Both the other parties won at the end. So keep that in mind if you're personally going through an attack or people trying to discredit what you're doing or what you can and can't do, because a lot of times they don't know. They don't know. And then lastly, WSMD, what should men do in this situation? It's just as simple as that. It's simple. Keep it pushing. Keep doing what you're supposed to do. Keep going to the charts. Keep putting out stuff. You'll find your community eventually in your tribe, because like I said in my episode with Brady a few weeks back, there's a community for everything. So if you ain't found your community yet, you probably ain't looking hard enough because they there. You'll find them. Or they'll find you. I don't know which way what it'll do, but either way it'll come that way at the right time. Keep that in mind. All right, y'all. So let's get into the final conversation for the day. And we're going to be talking about, now the title is misleading for the camera art. Cher's boyfriend Alexander didn't fight Travis Scott. He's actually cool with them. So we're going to go over the video, and then I'm going to go over a meme, the video what Cher said in response to it. So let's watch the video first.
Stop. Please stop the not in my you want to take that outside, take that outside. But respect me. Yo, mother respect me.
Okay. Let's get into that. So I said it wrong, my bad. He did fight Travis Scott. He he did fight Travis Scott. It wasn't because I was mixed up Tiger and Travis Scott. So let's get into what does this have to do with mental health. So first of all, from the outside looking in, Cher's boyfriend, Cher to me seems unproblematic. I haven't kept up with her in her olden days, but for the most part, she dating, she being a super cougar, and she got that young boyfriend, that young black man, and he's friends with Tiger. He's friends with Tiger, and he fought Travis Scott. Now, with that being said, with that young man, and him fighting Cher's boyfriend, fighting Tiger at that function, it almost also looks like niggas can't have nothing. But I will say Alexander is his name, which is Cher's boyfriend. He's, to me, seems unproblematic. He seems he don't really be in too much drama. He just kind of show up. I don't know if I even heard him talk. But I think it was a video of Cher basically saying like, oh, he was attacked by two men. He defended himself. So, hey, but I'm sure that's embarrassing, honestly, mental health wise, to be fighting at a public event like that, especially when y'all rich. And somebody somewhere didn't say it. I'll regurgitate it. Can't take niggas nowhere. Because they're gonna fight everywhere they go, huh? But no, not for real. I mean, something happened. I want to know what happened to make him fight Travis Scott of all people. Because I'm not gonna say Travis Scott is unproblematic, but it's like they both low-key unproblematic for the most part, besides, Travis Scott and I guess that concert, that was problematic. But so it was like, what happened? And you gotta wonder what happened, because I definitely wonder. And it's gonna come out. And this is like 10 days ago. WWID, what would I do in this situation? Honestly, I'm sure there was liquor involved, some type of drugs. I don't believe nobody was completely sober. I don't know. I got to do my research on Cher's boyfriend, but I don't think Alexander was completely sober. But I don't know. But either way, I wonder. There's always a moment where you can let stuff you can de-escalate things, and I felt like as it was rising, you get the signs when stuff about to go left. I think that is always in them situations, I kind of read the room very well, and I get a bad feeling something finna happen. And every time I got that bad feeling, something did. So I probably would have fled the scene, or maybe went to the bathroom or something. But that's just me. WWJD, what would Jesus do in this situation? Well, he did flip tables. And, I did believe he fought for what was right. He didn't physically fight people, but in the same breath, his way of going about it was still from a holy way. And it was still for the right place, right time, right circumstance. So what was they fighting over? That's the question. Finally, WSMD, what should men do? So in this situation, when you see this situation about to turn up, you see it. You got to flee the scene. I keep telling y'all, you got to flee the scene. You got to move around, because you just never know You just don't know. You just don't know. And you got the sign stuff was going to pop off. You decided to stay. So now I got to blame you. Because even though it might not be your fault, because you were still there and because you decided to do that, I got to blame you. Because you got the signs to leave. God said, hey, you got the vibe where you got that, hey, shake, it's time to go. You ain't listen. You ain't listen. So now I blame you. I got to. It is what it is. All right, y'all. So this was a real short one today. This week's episode is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So be prepared for that. And that's all I got for today. As always, thank y'all for tuning in. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, I love us for